Can you think of a time when you entered a room and there was a conversation going on and you heard a couple of key words and you thought, oh no, I do not want to go there today, and you turned around and walked the other way? So we come to chapter 7 and we have some of those terms there that I think can elicit that type of response. And those terms are terms like white privilege and mass incarceration, systemic racism. And I think that we feel that way because we all just, I think for the majority of us, we want to believe that we live in a fair and equal society, and we really desire that. That's why we want to believe it, because we desire each person to have equal opportunities. I really do think that that is what the majority of us feel. And so we've been trying to deal with this racism issue in our own little corner of our life, and we try to just be kind to everybody and treat each person fairly. And those are really great things. Of course, we need to continue to do that. Yet we know that that approach alone has not been enough. And so we need to do something more. So what can we do? I think that we can first start to listen to someone else's perspective. And maybe a good place to start is to start listening to a perspective that makes us feel a little bit unnerved, makes us say, ooh, I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to hear about that today. But just to sit and listen. So if you hear a term like white privilege and you feel like, oh, I'm not privileged, I work hard for the things that I have, or nobody ever gave me anything. Did you see the struggle I went through, or that I'm still going through, or I don't have a trust fund, right? I think white privilege, first of all, is not saying those things. But what it's saying is that if you have a society that has been set up generation after generation after generation by one race of people primarily, and the other races that live in that society have not been at the table to be in leadership roles, to make decisions, to establish the structure of the society in nearly all facets. So if we look at education, we look at lawmaking, we look at housing, we look at employment, and we look at who is leading in those areas for generation after generation. And when we see that it's primarily one race of people, then of course the society is set up to benefit people of that race or cater to people of that race. So how do we start to change that? I mean, we're talking, let's go all the way back to the very beginning. But today I challenge you to listen to the voice of someone that sits in a different seat than you do. Someone who has a different perspective. Perhaps they're saying something that makes you feel a little bit unnerved or uneasy. To listen to their voice and consider their perspective. And I think it will make a difference. I think it will make a big difference if we start to see things from other people's perspective, to walk in somebody else's shoes. So I challenge you that today, that you would seek out a different voice. And listen.